So I want to talk today as I walk to a great coffee shop, which apparently is just down here on the left, ranked 8.7 on Bean Hunter. I want to talk about webinars for a sec. So there's, depending on who you listen to, webinars are either the thing that you 100% must have to grow your coaching business, or they're dead. Woke up this morning in Amsterdam, which seems to be, by all accounts, just a super cool place. I came here once when I was a kid, and that was a long time ago, and I don't remember how awesome it is. Stoked to be here. There's one thing that most people don't think about when it comes to webinars, and I think, frankly, it's a little bit of a secret weapon if you get it right. So if I had a pen in my hand right now and could draw, or a can of spray paint and could graffiti on the wall here, which I won't, the first thing I'd say is that when it comes to a live webinar, so a live one, somebody registers and a little while later, the webinar goes live, usually a day or 2 or 3 later. Out of all of the people who register, let's say 100 people register for your live webinar, only 25, maybe 30% of the people will show up, right? And so there's a bunch of things you can do to increase the show-up rate. So only 25 or 30% of the people show up. Let's call it 25% because it makes the maths easier, and I'm not very good at maths. Okay, so a quarter of the people show, which means 3/4 don't, obviously. And here's the thing. What most people do is they work as hard as they can to get the biggest percentage to show up they can, which makes sense. And then they work super hard about doing an incredible webinar. And so they work on their presentation skills and the structure of their session. They put in all of this work to try to make a webinar that's actually good. And the truth is that webinars are bloody hard, right? If you do, first thing you need is a great structure. And if you've got a great structure, even if you're not amazing, you can do well with webinars. But if you've got a great structure and incredible presentation skills, you can do, webinars can be amazing for you. But can the average person do well with webinars? Not the, you know what? No. The average person can do well with webinars, but not everyone can be amazing at webinars. You need some natural talent, right? So we work really, really hard to do our best to this quarter of the people who actually showed up. Most of the people didn't. So here's the thing: you're putting in a ton of effort to a small slither of the potential audience. 100 people said they were interested, only 25% showed up, right? Second thing, not only does 3/4 of the people not show up, but your best prospects probably don't show up. Do they? Think about your best clients. What do they have in common? Well, they're successful already, they're busy, they're probably not going to spend an hour or 2 hours watching your thing. Did you hear that? The best prospects aren't going to show up on your webinar, by and large. So what does that mean? Well, what that means really simply is that the opportunity is not in doing a slightly better job for the 25%. The opportunity is, what do you do for the 75% of people? And we've figured out some really stupidly simple, take you 2 minutes to implement things to do before the webinar and after the webinar, which means regardless of what you do on the webinar itself, we'll have about 12% of the people who register request a sales appointment with you before the webinar, and a similar number after the webinar, regardless of whether they show up or not. Just think about this as we kind of wrap up. 25% of people will show. Obviously, you want to do the very best job you can, but frankly, even if nobody showed up on your webinar, you can still do incredibly well if you think that the webinar's job is to start a conversation. What do you do before? What do you do after? Hopefully that helps. Hey, I'm going to sign off, scratch my head, look for coffee, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.